Woke up early this morning with a smile on my face.
It's the frequent collapse of buildings in Lagos and Nigeria in general led to the formation of an advocacy group, mainly voluntary, to find a way to prevent the collapse. It's an advocacy group mainly working voluntarily to prevent future collapses, building collapse. One, through many ways: advocacies, liaison with the relevant government authorities, and an engagement with the stakeholders in the building construction industry. Those are the ways and methods we believe we will prevent future building collapse. So I hope that it stops soon, like yesterday, but in reality we know this is Nigeria, where everything goes, and we are trying our best to get our country back and to get back the relevant professions to get back on track and to get rid of quacks who have come into the building space. They are the reasons why building collapse, the quacks, both in the design and in the construction, substandard materials, is a major factor, and faulty design is another factor that are done by quacks. All these are done by quacks, not by professionals. So we are trying through advocacy and liaison with the relevant government agencies and departments. We are trying our best to sweep all this off our streets in the construction industry. All the quacks should really leave town because they are killing people, and I believe the government should make an example of a few. What we know, that there are not enough punishment to serve as deterrent. So we expect that when we start punishing these quacks, others will know that the construction industry is not where you come in to kill people. There is only so much the government can do. I believe government may be trying their best where there are human beings there, but we know Nigerians. I mean, it's about us, the people. I'll give an example which may not really be relevant. On the road, the two-lane road, there is a small bottleneck. What do you find? The two-lane road becomes 3-4 lanes. We are indisciplined as a people. Until we cannot put everything on the government. We as a people be responsible. The quacks know themselves. They shouldn't be in the space. The people said it, substandard materials. They shouldn't be in the space. Some people parading themselves as engineers who are not engineers know themselves. So but the role government needs to play is to make example of people. Make example. Once we start having prosecutions and convictions, then people will take government serious.
According to the visioneer of BCPG, which is a building collapse monitoring group, the incessant building collapse in Nigeria, particularly in Lagos State, was the reason why this body was put together to see how we can prevent or minimize the incidence of building collapse in Nigeria. The whole idea behind the BCPG is to ensure that developers or building owners engage professionals on their projects and try as much as possible to avoid what we call quackery. When professionals are engaged and everybody does their work in a very professional way, I think it will reduce or minimize the issue of building collapse that we have been seeing here and there. One cannot just say how soon, but as soon as the right things are done, as soon as professionals are engaged, as soon as professionals ensure that they carry out their duties, in a very professional way, and even the builders and developers, they also do the right thing. That is when we can begin to see the end of building collapse in our community.
Let me invite architect Mrs. Owe
Well, I would just advise that because this thing leads to loss of lives, they should understand that once there is a building collapse, so many lives goes with it. So they should do whatever that is within their purview to ensure that they desist from this act of quackery and make sure that professionals are engaged in the building industry.
Many lives were lost. So I want to encourage us that as we come together and brainstorm, and let's be firm and let's be specific about what we really want from government and what we want to, because there are so many aspects of this building collapse. I can even see some of these posters. And I know that there was a time when we were having some challenges, even with what's this called, that cement, you know, and then maybe the reinforcements, because apart from the materials, we also need to look at the developers. Whatever it is that we are going to do, we must get government to make some regulations with developers, because I don't know what experience others have, but I know that some developers would not use well-qualified professionals. I have offered my services to some developers and they say, no, we have our architects or we have our engineers. And what we discovered at that 21 floor street was that most of the professionals are not registered in their institutes. So we need to come up with some form of regulations or suggestions to government that they have to put in place certain guidelines that will prevent this continuous collapse of buildings.
Someone was wondering what could be the reason, But in all, I just want to encourage us as professionals that we should all be fair, just like she has rightly said, and ensure that our members are also encouraged to do what they are supposed to do and do it right. I've had cases of developers. All they do, they look for registered builders. They'll say, give me your certificates. They'll give photocopy and they'll go and submit it. That particular professional will not even be on the site to see what is happening. They go to engineer, they go to builders. Once they know that you are registered, they collect your certificate, big photocopy, and then they come submit it for approval. And once that is done, that's the end of it. So we should ensure that in our various professional bodies, we let our members know the implications of their actions. That if you just give away your certificate for somebody to just get approval or for them to be able to continue building, and anything happens and it leads to loss of life, that is like murder. So I think we need to do more. I just want to encourage all of us not to relent in our efforts. Let us gear up, and sensitization should also be sustained, beyond what it is now. Thank you very much.
All our activities at the chapter, and we look forward to a stronger BCPG, that would be at the forefront of the fight against building collapse. And we hope that this forum will yield a lasting solution to the menace of building collapse. Wish you very well.
I wish that we continue in this line, because in the past those cells are strengthened and helped in disseminating information about the guilt. But presently, I see that a lot of information about the guilt is going down, and I look forward to a situation where we divide those aspects. And secondly, the aspect of support from other professional bodies. I would like us to go into it and enhance those support to encourage our members to join the guild and support the guild. Because looking around presently, you can see how scanty the whole place is. But we all have representatives that from each professional body that is here to represent and take back information from the guild to the professional body and from the professional body to the guild from time to time. On that behalf of that, I want to continue to wish the guild good luck in their endeavors and wish them a fruitful celebration.
I'm glad to be your listener. I salute the effort of each and everybody. So I recollect this association has been working on this issue for almost 10 years now. In response to a very stubborn problem. I want us to look at something critically in our deliberations. It appears we are working on the symptoms of the problem. Maybe we should look deeper and look at much more potent issues that can lead us to having a better construction industry free of collapse every now and then. And if we look at the structure of the sector, we'll see that some things are present that are unorthodox. They are not like other environments. First, we have so many actors, so many developers who turned the industry, they turned the construction sector to a kind of informal sector operations, just like our typical informal sector things. And that is very important because all these small developers don't have what it takes to acquire technology, engage the personnel, most of the collapse, you don't find a competent professional working on the projects. So we look at the physical issues of compliance too. So this same reason, in other places we find corporate bodies, competent corporate bodies, a few of them applying for permits, developing.
As you devalue your currency, so you devalue your people. As you devalue your currency, so you devalue your assets. The assets might be high in value, but what do you have in real terms when compared to other currencies is nowhere. Why are we buying petrol today at 250 or 350 naira per liter? Because of the landing cost. Assuming a currency was 1-to-1, will it still be at 350? The answer is no. As soon as your economy is not strong and your currency is not strong, there is no way that people will not cut corners. That is the nature of human beings. So while we are talking to government, let us also drum it into the ears of government that we need to strengthen our economy. We need to strengthen our currency. People are becoming poorer every day because your disposable income or your savings is not there. So one of the things I want us to take here, I'm talking in the position of a land economist and I say surveyor and valuer. Let us try to strengthen our economy, and strengthen our economy is by our currency. Secondly, we need to tell ourselves the truth. Some people, by reason of what they will get, refuse to tell government the truth and the government officials. How do I know? Go to the ministry, you want to get approval. The cost of getting approval is so high that it's frightening. And then
please stand up to recognize His Royal Majesty. You are most welcome. If I am not mistaken, I appreciate Baba the Mom. You are welcome, sir.
I was recruited to become an officer on drug housing team and Amo the family. And I had the experience of working in a team comprising about 7 different professional groups. We had an architect, issue. We had another architect, we had a state manager, we had an engineer, we had science engineer, we had plant planners, we had all the professionals to the team on our own of the And it gave me the experience that the importance of correlation and coordination between the professionals is very, very important. Right from the basic stage. For each of the projects, from the basic stage of planning and design, all the professionals have their input to what we are doing. And that leads to the success and meeting the challenges of this implementation of those projects. So, here we are today, we still need each other. There's no need for rivalry, we need to support each other. And I would like to say for my profession that the bank banner is in very advantageous position to oversee and to coordinate all the other professions. Not that we know what to do for, but we have an advantage to be.
We really need to hit hard where they will listen. We hope as we go into a new year, the BPCG will continue to be relevant. And it's also important that there's unity amongst all of us. That's why we offered to host this when the other open called us. We don't want to be seen as standing alone. The NIS is also making efforts. We know where it concerns us is the issue of subsidence, the soil that we build on, how stable it is, the soil that we build on, how is it being monitored. Well, I'm not here to give a lecture on what the surveyor can do, but I think I'm just trying to call on all arms of the BCPG to stand firm, resolute, and be ready to talk truth to power, as one has said, anytime we are called upon. On behalf of the Nigerian General Surveyors Lagos State Branch, I wish the entire BCPG
various aspects of engineering. And all these 26 are very important on equal basis to the youth environment. This is a good way to forget my standards. At the inception of at the inception of this visit, I was the vice president of the Financial of Engineers then. And engineering was represented. What is happening now? Engineering no longer. But when there's a problem, then engineers will come. And of course, we do what we should do. And then we can be accused of not collaborating. But we don't really understand. I want to enjoy the younger ones who are taking over. They are doing well. First, we as engineers, and in this Lagos State, you know, engineering in Lagos State has 5 branches. It's not just the Ikeja branch. It's not just Lagos branch. It's not just Apapa branch. It's not just Victoria Land branch. Each of the branches you have are people. And engineering is the same engineering as practice. But we had to do that to be able to ensure that engineering is expected across the entire state. You see, I just want us all to understand the engineers and their structures. We are not unnecessarily biased. Myself standing here, I have presented the Society of Engineers at the conference and AGM of County Surveyors, Town Planner, The truth and the truth is that take our structures of what we have and invite us across the world. If not for my brother in Naomi, who kept up doing it. I probably will not be there. And most probably there will be no official engineer in the midst of a youth environment. should that look nice? Yes, we all need ourselves. Everybody is important, wherever you might be. Before you come to the national, we agreed at inception that we should start with Lagos. You know, when Lagos sneezes, Nigeria sneezes. All do that. It's not by anybody's conception. God made it like that. So the point is that the Lagos chapter of BCPD should be very strong. If Lagos State got it right, the nation, Nigeria, it's like that from my experience. So we are appealing to ourselves. Let us sit down and tell ourselves number one problem, the problem of what do you call them? This what do you call these people now? Those babas who are involved in we call them developers. I double it. We are tired. You can't call yourself an engineer if you have not gone through a process. And that process is known. Let everybody know it. So even if you go to a site and you see somebody says an engineer, you are free to ask that person, can I see your certification that makes you an engineer? That certificate, I thought of bringing it myself today to show people. There's a statement in the certificate that says, by this, you are hereby authorized to use the word ENGR before your name. Finish. If that is done, he produces it, and yet the situation arrives such that he is at fault, he involves his strength and the ability to seek the truth, find the truth, and inculcate the truth. Thank you very much.
This did 10 years ago, and now a lot has been done by BCPB in Lagos State. As a proactive organization, people volunteer to be part of this burden with the aim of serving the country. Because it's a voluntary organization, and you know the aim and objective to make things better for the larger part of our people, making people to be safe, and then building within a reasonable, at a reasonable cost, and ensuring that the economy is doing well. Because with collapse of building, a lot is lost. It's not only lives. We lost money, we lost material, we lost integrity. Those of us who are professionals, whether you are invited to that construction or not, professionals are people that will be paid. And we have engineers, we have architects, we have planners, and houses are collapsing every day. So that's why some of us who are seated today champion the cost. And look, we need to find solution to this. We cannot continue. And so we appreciate all efforts of members since inception. Some of the critical things we've done was to get involved in government, looking through their laws and regulations guiding the practice, and then contributing to enrich those documents. Because standard is very important. And if you have regulations there, encourage them to maintain standard that are required. We know these days, most of us will have observed the field. Difference in the sizes of iron rods and all our building material. The quality is just going down. Just like our friend, SSW mentioned. When you have a period that the economy is down, companies also devise means of reducing the quality of their product. In some instances, you will see them just reduce the quality in terms of quantity that you have in your container. They don't want to increase the price. Discover what is inside is half of the quality of what it used to be. The same thing is happening to all the building materials we have around us now. So, the Standard Organization of Nigeria too, they are agencies that we collaborated with. And we keep on encouraging them too. You know, all these agencies, they have their own challenges. But if they see those of us in this environment that we are ready to support them, we also encourage them to do the right thing. So we will continue to do this and ensure that sanity comes to play in the environment.
It's a lot of call, you know, myself and Lucky is here, who is my co-rider at the time. So the president will urge us, you know, we have a long list of all the members with their phone numbers. So we'll be calling. Our meeting is tomorrow, our meeting is next week. So that thing brought a lot of people to the meeting. And I discovered that the ex-president, Awokodo, is doing that very, very quickly. I want to appreciate him for that. Now, when we started, I want to cut the whole long story short. You know, there was a time we were to collaborate with LAFTA. Because we felt that we can't do this without the effort of government. And most of you have seen that. Now, I think there was an argument about whether to involve Lagos State and the mode of compensation. And I can remember very well that our president then, Awokodo, was not too comfortable with that approach. Because he felt that it's going to compromise our integrity. And that was what led to so many people leaving basically because they thought that, well, this is an opportunity for us to work with government so that we can solve this issue once and for all. You know, the truth of the matter is that government doesn't have the capacity to monitor. Enough capacity to monitor, let me put it that way. But we were everywhere at the time. It says, we were very active. We have a president, chairman, and a secretary, and all that, and we're holding meetings regularly, really. So everybody felt that by inviting government into this, one, we will be compensated, and that it will encourage so many of us to continue the work. But when that issue collapsed, that is the issue of involving Lagos State into rewarding and doing the collaboration. I think most people felt they can't continue. So those of us that are still here and those of you that are here today, I want to thank you very much. I think we can remove government collaboration from what we are doing. That is my own personal opinion. There is a need for synergy. There is a need for collaboration. So we have to look at that over and over again and see how we can collaborate. I think one of the things, I'm talking about practical things now, is these approving authorities. They are not doing much to help us at all. I must be very frank. You take your drawings to local government or the fiscal planning office. You know, they don't check the drawing. That is the way that's from my own point of view. Because I've done a lot of drawings. They have brought a lot of drawings to me. And I said I am not the one that did it. You know, they usually give these drawings to us to sign and see. I said, look, I can't sign this. I shouldn't worry. And they have given money to the people. They just want to have it on the record. Actually, I can't imagine that such these drawings will get to local government authorities. people will not be doing, and these people that are doing wrong design, whatever, they are artists, they are quacks, they are not professionals. Because if you are a professional, if you do your drawing, you have your seat to see it. Isn't it? So these are the people. So we have to work on that and let the government know that if they have to employ competent hands, to even if it's just to be looking at their drawing and see, it's not the money. No, I went to a place and VI. It's a 10-story building, and the man is a developer, just as you said. The people that are in the office, they are just 2-3 years old in the system. They can't even identify anything. The man said, "I don't worry that look, don't come and give us grammar here. That I know them. Once I take the drawings to them, they will, because we have paid them, they will approve." So these are the kind of things. 10-story building. You are doing it. You don't involve any qualified person, structural engineer, electrical engineer, mechanical engineers, and all that. You don't involve them. No, it's bad, and they are building the place. They are building the place. Nobody to solve them. These are the things that are responsible for collapses. And I will suggest, and this is practical now, that every construction site where there is a construction going on, even if it's rehabilitation, the project, if they are shown, anybody can get there and say, who are those people working on this? They can look at it, even call them up and see. If we make that one very, very compulsory, that look, if we want to construct, if we want to start building, let there be a big board where all the professionals that are involved in this project are displayed. You know, as you see, so many of them will now start looking for professionals who can at least supervise. Because if the authorities are going there and looking at it and say, okay, who is the structural engineer? They don't even have to ask. They just look at the board, they can see the architect, they can see the structural engineer and all that. They can call them up. Are you involved with this? If these things are being done all around, I think it will force these developers to engage professionals, because that is the key. Really, non-involvement of professionals in all these buildings, developments that we are doing. And I also notice that professionals don't even engage professionals. Let's face it, professionals, even amidst, don't even want to engage professionals because they said it's costly. So they would rather look.
All built environment professionals, both from the institutes and they are from various government agencies and other platforms. And tomorrow we're actually preparing reviewing the draft position on the building collapse. So the National Building Code. But what we've done so far is I can only speak for post-construction now. And then what we've done so far is to review the section 12 down of the
So members, volunteers were coming, there were so many. Then I was also looking for maybe one of our leaders in the industry to take over the responsibility of being the chairman. Then collectively here in this hall, I was elected as the chairman of the first chairman of Building Collapse Prevention Group in 2011. That was how we started. Later, I was asked to advance to national president. So I became the national president, and town planner C.K. John, Madam Louis, the first woman town planner in Nigeria, became the second chairman of BCPG in Lagos State. After her, architect Agbaje, clap for Madam Louis. She did a lot. And the best then was architect Choduke is here. The man that designed this building, when it's called Because structural engineer made a specification 25 Newton per square millimeter, the concrete strength. And you know the number of bags of cement, the ratio. In quantity surveyor, we consider the present price of those materials to build the price for that 25 megapascal. Now, people tender for the job, and they are now using the price made for 20 Newton per square millimeter to get the job. And the client was so happy, giving to the cheapest bidder. So, when we were investigating the collapse of the building, the Secretary of the Committee, the role of the KS was that, look at what we have in the drawing. On the drawing, this is the strength of that slab, that concrete. And we are using this amount. Something went wrong. That is the role of the KS. KS is very relevant in this, our campaign. Then surveyors. Surveyors without adjectives. Land surveyor we use to call them. You see, levels are very important. Surveyor Dr. Olayinka, who's now director at Oyo, he came with a lot of equipment, survey equipment from Unilag, when we were investigating collapse building at Singapore. Engineer Ojobi was the chairman. Then Engineer Fadayo took over. Look at the synergy, how we all work together. So then some of these areas, subsidies, they're supposed to monitor the level annually or in 5 years. That's the function of surveyor. Then names, all these buildings that we are all occupying, they are the inheritors. Because if the building is not well constructed, they will run into problems. Who pays to manage a building that is bound to collapse? And we talk of buildings meant for residential, then we are turning it to warehouse. They are very important. And if you look at it, all of us must have had primary training from school or building. Is there any professional? We have courses that were interrelated. So we need one another. And that is why the leaders of the industry here, we need to recruit more younger ones. Because 2011 to today, how many years now? So from institute to institute, we will recruit more members. Many of our members, they have done so much because this form will be filled up. But we targeted only the leaders because we have an issue to resolve with the Lagos State government that we cannot be divided. We all came together that those who have passion to help solve the problem of frequent collapse of building will go to BCPG. Building Collapse Prevention Day is under the supervision of the semi-professional bodies. That was why all of them, they normally send representative to the EXCO. Officially, that this is the person representing us on the SO. That is the person. So they know that those people in the organization have passion to help assist government to solve this problem. We used to have many sets in so many activities, but COVID slowed down so many things. In fact, some of our members that got these messages, we didn't know that they were on sick bed. I don't want to be mentioning it. They called me that they got this message. And has anybody asked after them after COVID? So that is what we are trying to build up now. The relationship that existed before COVID. We should try to find out what has been happening to our members. State leaders should also make efforts to reach out. After COVID, we had economic problems. Most of our members were challenged economically. Projects must come and so on. But we thank God that we are alive. So we are rebuilding. We are rebuilding. Our word of you, we are there. This used to be very vibrant. Yaba, there is engineer Friday. I saw him. Yaba used to be vibrant. Most of them are just going and coming out. So we are going to start all over again. Those are from Badagi. Badagi people are here. Efe people are here. Those representatives. Ikorodu, they are here. Madam has stepped up. So, what we need the chairman and the leaders of the great environment is to awaken the spirit of their members. We should not be divided, please. Between 2019 and today, Lagos had the high power. It's a surveyor. Maybe surveyors are having something in public. You know who is the commissioner of physical planning and urban development in this state? He's town planner, he was a director in the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development here. He later became the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Housing here in Lagos. He served the commissioner over there. And don't forget, he was the chairman of Constitutional Review Committee, BCPP Constitutional Review Committee. I think they were using NITP for the work. And he saw the good initiative and the idea of this organization. He introduced it to the state government. And we have now signed an MOU. All the semi-professional bodies in the state under the piece of disability sign an MOU with the state government, and monitoring is going on all over. What they want now is that some of our members are residing in Ogun State Secretary, Lagos Suburb. So, and the way we arrange this thing is that we want professional bodies to also have some kind of strain control over their members who are in disability. So rather than say through disability alone that you want to be dealing, your professional member must also sign a body who sign that this is our member. You are going out, don't go and commit, don't go and compromise. This is important. So the professional bodies in Ogun State and Lagos State, we are trying to see how they are producing some kind of synergy, which is very, very urgent. So that it's not that your members who are working there in Lagos are going to be registered, are going to be deregistered. But there is this working relationship. So that maybe the chairman of NIPS, for instance, in Lagos State, and the chairman of NIPS in Ogun State, you have that understanding that who to sign for that member. So those are the things they are waiting for us. Part of the outcome from this meeting, which we are expecting from some of the chairman to let us know how do we solve this problem? It's not a problem per se. How do we handle this situation? It's very important. So can they take note, our leaders, so that your members here who are living in one way, for instance, or car, and want to be working with this PGO to state, they can have their permission to work as so that they are attacking your members. So, and fortunately, the Ogun State government is making some kind of is it treatment or some kind of benefit to them, area to area. So, and Lagos State also had such an intention. A meeting was held in this meeting that they would try to support. But a new idea now came that after they have did some agreement, just for the government to sign the MOU, then there are some people that now came with an idea that let us do this thing like a business, like to form consultancy, don't need the name of the company to them. You form consultancy, you capture an area and turn it to a business. Do you understand? In fact, the irony is that some of the people who are not interested in free service that we have been doing now saw the opportunity to go and make money. Then we have been comparing corruption as Major Day said. Now those who knew that their primary intention was to make profit. Now they came up and let's go for company. Then you now see some people within this system. We knew. We now come up with a company where they put some people just to get money. So this is something the chairman of Built Environment Professional Body and the BCPG leadership must sit down and let them know that we have a tradition. We have to be very careful. We don't want anything that will divide us. So on this note, this is to initiate this idea. On this note, I will request the BCPDSO to propose a meeting as urgent as possible with the chairman of the Built Environment or the secretary of the EXCO member to look into this matter. That a sensitive issue is to be created here. You remember in those days when they said they wanted to give us money, coming up developers that are doing something up. So we should be careful of money. So that is my recommendation. I thank you all because anyways are here. I thank you all. So when you go back to yourself, let us try to find out what has been happening to our own members. Reach out to them, economic challenges, health challenges. Let us all come together and support one another. Thank you very much.
I want to say, as good as it looks, have we done the risk impact, the risk assessments, the risk evaluations of our members doing naturally what law empowers, government officials to be doing? LABSCAM, as for Lagos, Ogun State has theirs. Very true, we have been clamoring for collaboration. But we need to have a system whereby buildings, when they fail, now we are all duplicating.
But beyond this silver lining of private sector collaborating with government actors, if there are failures that entail collapse, God forbid, lives will not be lost. But if lives are lost, have we ever thought about the implications of our involvement? And now that we are being involved, our colleagues in government will just be what our colleagues outside are coming to join us in doing. God forbid if there is anything. But if there are failures, how are those failures going to be resolved? Somebody whose property collapsed, even whether he had his in-house designers and supervisors, professional supervisors or not, if he knows that officials of LASCA or Ogun State, similar development control people were there, and he knows PCPG played active role in the supervision of my property, and there is a collapse, and even, God forbid, lives are lost. How do we manage? Who is going to be accountable for such failure? Is it those our members in such cells that do some of these oversights, not so detailed supervision, just they are doing this, who are here, and there is on record that they are there, they were monitoring what they are doing. I think the ones that will be accountable for that failure, or by law, is it the executive of BCPG in such states, or if you go to court, if any matter of such will eventually get to court, is it board of trustees or what do they call them of BCPG that will be held accountable for such failure? So these snippets that I am just chipping in is not detailed. I just want us to, beyond this our involvement, we need to actually do comprehensive risk assessment of our involvement in project supervision. Thank you.
Not to delay, what Architect Shoduke mentioned was what I was going to say. The rider to that is that PCPG might not have the technical equipment to start measuring strength of concrete, the quality of reinforcement used on sites, and stuff like that. I think ours would be like what used to happen those days when we had LEDB, the Lagos Executive Building Society that metamorphosed into the LDBC. In those days, most of those buildings you have in Ilubeju, at every stage of construction, there must be a certification. And test tubes are produced for tests at the laboratory. Lagos State has tried a bit, and I think UNILAG has a test lab too, where materials need to be tested. My own, the building collapse thing is both not the builder's fault. Again, might not also not be the client's fault. Because if I go to building materials shop where I buy reinforcements, and the kind of reinforcement I buy is the one produced in Ikorodu by Chinese people. The strength of such reinforcements are very, very doubtful. If you take them for tests, they crumble like biscuits. And if you use that one for your slab, obviously, it's going to come down. Yeah, can't carry any load. So that is one side. It could be cheaper, it could be expensive, but that one now gives room for us to rely more on imported reinforcements. I think the best one now is one that comes from Ukraine, but unfortunately Ukraine is not. So on the other flip side, government. When I was coming in, I had my past chairman of Lagos State branch, Samuel Lupo, mentioning about something about exorbitant cost of approving building approvals. That one is a major cause of building collapse in Lagos State. And in our interaction with government, thank God they are coming closer to us now. In our interaction there, I'm happy the moderator said, the chairman said there's a document to be presented Lagos State tomorrow. One of the things that should be in that document is that Lagos State government should please reduce drastically the cost of getting approval from their district offices, from their planning office. I can't imagine. I have a friend in Japan, just for him here, assembled professionals just like us, I project manage such sites. There's one that was supposed to have started since the beginning of the year in Mushi. I want to mention this. They told us it's on 840 square meters land. They told us we cannot do anything on the ground floor. The whole of the ground floor must be parking space. My friend wanted a simple warehouse that will not allow us to put everything on the ground floor, and we must go higher. So when I said, how many floors can we go? And they told us we can go as much as 3 floors. So I got my architect. I said, okay, please, this is what is required to get all the environment. By the time they did the assessment for us, just for ground floor parking, first floor warehousing, second floor, third floor, we're going to use lifts to start lifting up those. We were given a bill of 10.6 million naira. Just for approval. I said, just to look at drawings and to say what we have done is okay. 10.something million. Even the professional that were doing the drawings, we didn't pay them 10.6 million naira. What is all this? There's nothing we did not see. Just like somebody mentioned that the officials too compromise. Yes, I was approached. I said, look, if you do this one, we can allow you. If you do that one, I said, no. My friend was around there. I told my friend, I said, please, I want to be, I'm a stickler for perfection. I want to be on the site. I said, just like my cars, I don't miss my papers. My papers are always complete. So that when any policeman spots me on the road, if I show him my papers, it's okay. And it's not talking something that I can shout on him. I can prove my points. I said, that's the way I want to handle that site, please. I don't want anybody coming to beg a small child. I said, look, the building that collapsed in Ikoyi, we all had what happened. They approved 16 floors for him, and probably he did what they wanted. I decided to 20-something floors. So, Lagos State government really needs to be talked to. That look, we don't discourage development by that political will, because now the investor is already thinking of, I'm going to spend 10.6 million naira.
How can us do very dubious things? Of recent, I had to call the Lawobodu. When the reinforcement were going to use us, I noticed that the sizes were very ridiculous. And upon it all, the prices per tonnage of this reinforcement is in the range of over 400,000. And how many people will be able to afford that to use for their building? And so it's a major thing that we want the government to take a look into in collaboration with BCPG. Very, very important. Because if you continue this, we will continue to have collapsed buildings all of the time. And I mean, where do you want people to go? We have to go to the market to purchase the reinforcements that we have available. How many people can afford to buy the imported reinforcements? You understand? And in the process of even taking it for testing, of course, the government officials are compromised, everybody is compromised, and it's a serious matter going on in this industry.
people are compromising, the government officials are compromising, and of course, those who want to build, you want to spend less money, and you will see the owners compromising as well. You know, a lot of the government officials come to you while on site asking for ridiculous things, you know, and at the end of the day, it's a major problem. And so, our government officials, they need to be spoken to. Not just that alone. The cost of many of their agencies, the cost that they slam on building is too high. And so they need to look into this forum so that people will have no need to compromise in any way. Will be willing to pay if it's affordable. I mean, a situation where you take your project to LASCA and at the end of the day, LASCA is charging you several millions to come and pay because of probably you didn't do one thing or the other. You have your building plan approval, you didn't go to them to call on them to come and, you know, for the supervision before you take off. They will charge you. And by the time you look at the charges they are bringing to you, it's something so ridiculous that at the end of the day, bros, what are you doing about this? The compromise starts, you know. And so at the end of the day, it's a major problem. But be that as it may, what I want BCPG to help us look into in collaboration with government is the reinforcement that we're using. I had to call him and he sent an S-way, you know, to decide. And I think I understand now that most of these foreigners are now probably doing the right thing, you know, putting up, coming up with reinforcements that meet up with sizes, with lengths. But if at that, if we take them for testing, are they put to test? But because they want to increase the sizes, they want to make sure that the reinforcements are, you know, in the right sizes. They have increased the prices in the market now, and they are refusing to bring out these new ones just because they want to increase the price. So currently, by the time the real sizes are coming out into the market, it will be in the range of over $500,000 for tonnage of reinforcement. This is unnecessary. So please, government and BCPG, help us look into this so that people can afford to do things properly, and God will bless all of us.
That is to announce to the executive that I have ceased to be the chairman in Lagos chapter of the NIQS. And I know that you have recognized the new chairman as well, QS Olariwaju Farotimi, his deputy. They are here, and you see that Nigerian Institute of Funds Services is really well represented. Both parts are present. Thank you very much. Having said that, I'm happy that we discussed about collaboration with the government, both Lagos and Ogun State government. In talking to them, we need to make them realize, and I know that a lot of us too are practitioners within the government ministries and agencies. Our colleagues there, they need to be resistant to us. It's really very important. That's one of the things that we've seen in the past. Our colleagues in government, they are a bit resistant to those of us who are on the outside practicing in private practice. But I also know that if we all come together, all of these things that we're talking about, it will take us time to get to where we need to be. Having said as well, like to support what the first contributor said. I think it's architect Shoduke, if I remember very well, that we also need to do an assessment of what the risks are when we become very, very involved, and we need to put that to our documents as well. Who takes responsibilities for what? And I know that by the time there is punitive measures going around in terms of professionals or design consultants or anything like that, people will sit up and do their work properly. Thank you very much. That's my submission.
Yes. I just want to, because I've listened to a lot of talk about building collapse. I feel I have a duty to remind us or maybe call attention to the fact that collapses are actually structural engineering issues. Yes, the planners may have a contribution, POS, and for cost and all that. But essentially, when the building collapses, it's a structural engineering failure. Even if it is not properly approved and located in the wrong place, maybe the building should be 3 floors and they made it 10 floors or whatever. As long as the structural engineering is sound, it will not collapse. That mistake in approval will not cause it to collapse. So, any efforts to stem the issue of collapse should have in its content a lot of structural engineering. So a lot of attention should be paid to the structural engineering details. This is very important. It's not aggrandizing structural engineering, it's just facing the reality that this is a discipline that has so much knowledge, know-how about collapses that should have. So we should just pay homage to that and not think that, well, it doesn't really matter, all of us can contribute. In the process, we can gloss over very minor details that can lead to serious problems. So, as an elderly person and as a structural engineer, I want us to copy the people of France and Europe, where they celebrate the engineers, they make room for engineering, they take care of them, they patronize them. It is that patronage that will lead to confidence of the engineer, that will lead to them, what is the word? Doing well enough to train people to maintain standards. But if an engineer is not well paid and is not really recognized, he struggles to cope, and in the process certain things can go wrong. Like we have seen in Lagos. Lagos is a major embarrassment to the whole of Nigeria. And this has to do with what government is doing. It brings us to the Ogun State issue, which Adesola has talked about. I feel that Ogun State has done very well, and if we're talking about risk, I think we should simply just go to them and see what they did, try to follow their steps. Not so far, we have not had any fallout from Ogun State in the past 1 year or so. And if there's anything or something minor, so they must be getting something right. So we need to go to them and learn what it is so that we can also do it right. Thank you very much.
My colleagues that are representing every other country go to the observe the chairman of so many like Kenya branch. I bring the Bukai branch and the entire leaders in Lagos State to you that we are playing forth in collaboration with the building collapse development guy. So when we are talking about collapse of building, engineers go and I want us to know that in the name of the building collapse development guy, we should not wait totally for complete failure. We see how we can prevent. Let's work on prevention rather than when it's already a failure indeed. And then I want us to take all the suggestions that our cabinets have given to us so that we will be able to reduce this aspect of incessant collapse from time to time, especially in Lagos. We have, for engineers, we have the ERM, engineering regulation and monitoring. By our current council regulating engineering in Nigeria, we have ERM aspect of it. The ERM is a chapter where they are fully members of this body. So that in case there is any collapse, in case there is any meeting, you will be here properly if there are experts to you, to the body. So I thank you for being here this afternoon. And I say we will continually collaborate to ensure that the building collapse is keeping bringing to zero tolerance in Lagos State. Thank you very much. On behalf of that,
Thank you very much, sir. We need to.
The day is well spent on behalf of the CPG. Because it's the interest that you have in the built environment that makes it to come. This is an organization where money is not paid, it's just a charity organization. And for people to come around and say this for DCPG generally, both national and state, say a big thank you to everybody. And I hope that all that we have said today will go back, look into it, and make good use of it. But like I keep on saying each time this thing comes up, whatever we say, it doesn't matter. Enforcement is the real thing. Once we are not able to enforce, I mean, we won't get any results. Let's be honest with ourselves. If you prepare any bill of quantities, it is written in that bill of quantities, signed board, we pay for it in the bill. The question is, how many buildings have you seen that you see the signboard of all the people that are working on that project? It doesn't come up. And nobody is enforcing it. In any bill of quantities, you will see insurance for the work, insurance for the people on the projects. The question is, how many people are doing this insurance? What enforcement comes up? Thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate everybody. I will call the Vice President to please give us a closing prayer. Sir, please, can somebody please put the motion for please? Your name, sir?
My name is Bello Wasim.
Bello Wasim. Supported by?
SV Allen Segali. Allen Segali. Well, we thank God for this gathering, and we thank God for all the celebrations that we had for the event of DCPG, and we lead for hope, be your guidance to get hope. Let us be bold in good stead.
The way forward this thing is that in any economy, once the economy is bad, definitely it will affect so many things. It's because of the economy, that is why people are cutting corners. If you look at the blocks are not as thick as what they used to be. The wood are not as thick as they used to be. The reinforcements to the same thing. And these are the things that are packed together to do what we call building. Except the Building Organization of Nigeria are up to their task to make sure that people do things the way they are supposed to be done. We will continue to have collapse. And the government too, they have to punish people for whatever they do. If there is no sanction, we will continue. But once they are able to show example that, look, this building collapsed, the whole house is demolished, whoever is involved is in prison, definitely things will come up. But as long as we just keep on talking, won't do anything. We have to punish people for doing wrong. That's the only way forward. Is that we come out with a communique after this meeting, which will be written out. We'll forward it to the government, and we'll do a follow-up. That's our intention.
We have discussed this at length, at BCPG level and at professional level. You see, there are a lot of causes really, and the major cause which we have that identified with our research is that most of the construction that we're going on, or most of the buildings that collapse, doesn't involve professionals. So from the professional point of view, most of the collapses, they didn't involve professionals in the built environment. You know, we have seen it. Look at the 21 story that collapsed. You know, the professional has to leave at a particular time. And it was then things started going haywire. So the involvement of professionals in the built environment is so important. If we want to prevent collapse of building, all those things must be enforced. First, we must ensure that professionals are involved and the drawings are adhered to. No professional will allow his name to be tarnished. So, with that respect, whatever, there are so many corners that are being cut in construction. You recommend, before you know it is being compromised. For example, in electrical engineering, if you say, okay, let us use 10 mm. If you use 1 mm, it doesn't mean that you won't get light there. The truth of the matter is that, well, that thing will collapse, that thing will fail at a particular. So that is the issue. The issue, Mire, is the issue of professionals that are not involved in construction in this country, especially in Lagos. There are a lot of charlatans, there are a lot of quacks that are producing drawings that are going to sites because people thought that they are cheaper. You know, at the end of the day, they are not cheaper. Because if anything happens, you still have to come back to us. I can't count how many drawings, how many buildings that that has been done wrong. In terms of installation and all that, and they, you know, when they cannot continue, they now come back to us. I said, okay, we want to have it there. I want to have it corrected. We have it done. So at the end of the day, when you engage professionals, it is cheaper. It might look expensive, but at the end of the day, it is cheaper, and you can go home and sleep with your 2 eyes. That one out, and we have said it over and over again. Of course, if officials don't compromise, we won't have the problem we are having today. So officials, of course, they are the main culprit as far as this thing is concerned. Officials, they do compromise, and this is what we have been saying. For example, you know, I talk about the drawings which are being done. There are so many drawings that are given to us. You won't believe that these are drawn by professionals, because they are artisans. They just do the drawings and they bring it to us. They said, okay, let us see it. So, and they will take it to people that are supposed to know in the planning authority. This is where the problem is. If they don't compromise, if they look at this drawing and they vet it and they make sure that those things that are supposed to be done are done, then we will not be having this issue. We will not be having. They don't bother to look at those drawings. They don't bother to vet. They don't bother to make comments. They just once they are giving money, all is well. That is not the way it should go. And we are insisting that, look, all these things you can't afford to compromise. We are talking about lives here. The lives that are being lost, they are avoidable. Every collapse is avoidable. We have said it. We have insisted over a number of years that building doesn't have to collapse. Why?
The main cause of this anomaly is that people find it convenient not to do the right things. There are regulations. People are not following regulations. There are things that should be done before you think of execution of any program. They will not secure approval. They will not engage professionals. There is no professional that will want to be blacklisted, for God's sake. So they won't employ professionals. The people they call engineers most of the time are bricklayers and artisans. There is nothing wrong with being an artisan, but to take responsibility for the structural stability of a building requires a registered engineer. So they don't engage professionals. And as we speak, buildings will continue to collapse until we start doing the right things. And that is the real essence of BCPG, to engage people and ensure they know what should be done in their own interest and in the interest of all stakeholders.
Summary in this way. The scenario that is happening now is that in recent times, the frequency of building collapse has doubled, has increased astronomically. So this has somehow challenge the past efforts. And members of Building Collapse Prevention Guild had to come together to ruminate, strategize on the way out of this present development. Nothing sublunary is supramundane. Anything on this heart cannot defy solution, especially when it is of man-made problems. So, one thing we have identified is that as a result of collapse in stock market, stock trading, investors are focusing now on real estate. So many people have come into building construction without following what we call the due process. They are primarily after gains, not quality. So that is where we have a challenge. And government does not have the staff strength to visit sites. And the philosophy is so simple. The moment we start to involve those who are trained in the technology of building construction and be ready to hold them responsible if something negative happens due to their mistakes, then those who just perceive construction site, construction work as a means of generating income without having professional training, we draw back when they start to see punishment. When you have the laws and people are flouting the laws without any consequence, so impunity at its highest level continues. So the stalactite is stretching his hand, and the stalagmite should respond so that the two could come together in a pillar of unity that will be very difficult to design and dismantle. So the professionals in the built environment collectively today at this forum have decided to rekindle their commitment to this battle against building collapse menace. Once our colleagues who are in the government circles, who are holding forth in the government circle, solidarize with us, then the frequency of building collapse will become a thing of the past. Thank you very much.
Woke up early this morning with a smile on my face. Thought you were next to me, but then I see you walking away.